The one who takes riba, the one who gives riba, the one who records the transaction, and the two witnesses. Did you know that he said that riba is constituted of 70 different parts? Hadith of Ibn Majah. That riba is constituted of 70 different parts, and the smallest part of riba is equivalent to a man marrying his own mother. And do you know what the modern secular state has done? Even in Saudi Arabia, all around the world, they've made it halal. Don't believe me? There's something called a bank outside there in Subang Jaya. Go and ask them whether they lend money on interest. Ask them whether it is haram or halal in Malaysia to lend money on interest. Go and ask them. I can go on and on and on and on. This is a substitute for the Khilafah. But let me say something more. In the Khilafah state, so long as we Muslims have control over territory, that territory is designated Darul Islam. Now look at that. That's another term I have to take out of the cold storage. You better keep the lid open for me. Darul Islam. And in Darul Islam, every Muslim has the right to enter. All that you have to do is to declare La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and you have the right to enter. You don't need a visa. In Darul Islam, every Muslim has the right to enter. You don't need a visa. So Indonesia is 90-something% Muslim. So I go to Indonesia, I present myself before the immigration officer, I raise my hand, say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Immigration officer looks at me. Where has this fellow come from? He says, where is your visa? Show me your visa. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah can't work here. Are you understanding the situation? In Darul Islam, every Muslim has the right to reside. You don't need a PR, it's called, permanent residence, PR. Huh? Very difficult, eh? PR. No. Once you're a Muslim, you have the right to reside. In Darul Islam, every Muslim has the right to seek his livelihood. You don't need a work permit. I told you, he said, that in the end times, knowledge will disappear. This knowledge has disappeared to such an extent that now some people cannot even digest it. They don't agree with it. No. In Darul Islam, every Muslim has the right to participate in the political process. The political process in Islam is called a shura, on the basis of equality with all other Muslims. You don't need citizenship. This is Darul Islam. That substitute has divided us, broken up Darul Islam, and replaced it with something that is very bad. Let me use a soft language. Very bad. Very bad. And so in 1988, when I came to Malaysia for the first time, I was the principal of the Alimia Institute of Islamic Studies in Pakistan. And the Muslim, what is it called? An Islamic organization in England, Muslim Institute for Research and Planning, founded by our dear brother Dr. Karim Siddiqui Rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on the soul of our dear brother. The Muslim Institute in London and Parte Islam in Malaysia combined to organize a seminar on Hajj. And I was chosen to come from Pakistan to be one of the speakers in that seminar. And I said that it is wrong to take the Islamic movement and register it as a political party and fight elections under the constitution of a modern state that has come from Dajjal. PAS was not too happy with me. No. The same thing was done in Pakistan by Maulana Maududi rahimahullah with the Jamaat Islami. The same thing was done in the Arab world, the movement founded by Hassan al-Banna rahimahullah, the Ikhwan al-Muslimun. That you take the Islamic movement, you register it as a political party, and you fight in elections under a constitution of a state created by Dajjal, built on the foundations of Sheikh. That is not the Sunnah. Well then what is the Sunnah? And what is the guidance from the Quran? When you studied this book on Gog and Magog, when you studied Ilmu Akhirul Zaman, Islamic Eschatology, and my book entitled Jerusalem in the Quran, most of you probably already read this book. It was written 10 years ago. It qualifies as the textbook on Islamic eschatology, and we now have it in Bahasa. We have it in Bahasa outside. When you study the subject of Ilmu Akhirul Zaman, then you understand that the proper response to Dajjal's money, Dajjal's economy based on riba, Dajjal's political system based on the modern secular state and its shirk, and the Security Council of the United Nations as Al-Akbar, the proper response is to flee from Dajjal. To flee from Dajjal. And to try to restore the micro-khilafah wherever you can. Until the time comes when the macro-khilafah can be restored, when Imam al-Mahdi comes. That micro-khilafah I have described as the Muslim kampung, the Muslim village. And I know that I'm out of Dajjal's reach when I go to a kampung where I cannot use a cell phone. Now I know I'm out of his reach. Over there we will try as best as we can to restore dinar and dirham as money in the market. And we will not use this bogus and fraudulent and utterly haram paper and electronic money. In that kampung, we'll try to restore the Amir and the Bay'ah. And we will refuse to give our allegiance to the modern secular state. And we say this is micro-khilafah, waiting for macro-khilafah when Imam al-Mahdi comes. This is not a place where you will be opting out of jihad. Oh no. That the baby boys who are born in this kampung will fight better on the battlefield from Khorasan in the Muslim army that will liberate the Holy Land. The baby boys born in this kampung will fight like lions, much better than yours from KLCC. So the Muslim kampung is not a place to go and sleep. Now then, we come to a very unfortunate event. One of the outstanding scholars of this age, and now my remarks are directed particularly to Pakistan. One of the outstanding Islamic scholars of this age was a man named Dr. Muhammad Iqbal. I recognize him as a great scholar, and I recognize him as a great poet. Unfortunately, my knowledge of the Farsi language and the Urdu language is not good enough to appreciate the beauty of his poetry. But I don't have any problems with his poetry. What the problem that I have is with what he has written in the English language. And I have more than a passing acquaintance with the English language. Dr. Iqbal argued in a book which he published entitled The Reconstruction of Religious Thought in Islam, which most Pakistanis have not read. And those who do try to read it probably give up before they finish 2 or 3 pages, because you need a whole bottle of Tylenol tablets for headache. Iqbal is writing pure philosophy. I have a master's degree in philosophy, and for me, it's a headache. So much less for you. I admire the first 2 chapters a lot, because in the first 2 chapters of that book, he takes on Dajjal. You know, the one eye and the 2 eyes? The epistemology of the modern West. And Iqbal has delivered the best defense of the epistemology of the Quran that has ever been written. But very few people can understand it. So those first 2 chapters are written in gold. But elsewhere, Iqbal has made this mountain of a mistake in declaring that the modern state, he calls it the Republican state. Actually, it's a secular state. The modern state, he says, can function as a substitute for the Khilafah. That's wrong. And if we say that our teacher made a mistake, we are not disrespecting our teacher. No. He still remains a great scholar. We still respect him. We are not disrespecting him when we say that this Iqbal has made a mountain of a mistake in declaring that the modern secular state with its parliament can be a substitute for the Khilafah. Iqbal then compounded that error by agreeing with Ibn Khaldun that all the ahadith on Imam al-Mahdi are all fabricated. Now don't come and tell me what Iqbal has said in Urdu poetry. No, don't come and tell me that. I know what he said in Urdu poetry. We're talking about what he said in English. And the impact of Iqbal's thought on the Pakistani intelligentsia. Iqbal does not believe in the return of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. No. Iqbal does not believe in Dajjal. No. I ask you, how can you beat the drums of Iqbal in Pakistan today to extricate Pakistan from the mess in which it is? He is not the answer. Yes, there is much we can learn from him. Yes, Iqbal can inspire our people with his Urdu verse. But Iqbal in English is not the guide to take the Pakistani people out of the awesome predicament in which they are. And so I wrote this book.